Hello, guys. So, welcome back to another ProfileTree podcast. How are we this week?
Grand, what about yourself?
Doing good. Yeah. Um, so this week we're going to be talking about short form video content, or really, I suppose, video content as a whole across social media and digital marketing. It's been happening, I guess, for a couple of years. The sort of rise in the dominance of short form video content. I think it's came to a peak in 2025. Since the introduction of Reels on Instagram and I suppose the explosion in popularity of TikTok since it launched in UK in 2018. From even looking at statistics, we saw some research by Incivia last year that found that viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch it in a video compared to 10% when they're reading it in text or static content. So, the impact of video content's absolutely undeniable. Even the power of reach and engagement, we're seeing that videos are shared 12,000% more than text and images combined, which I think is kind of crazy. I think, Gabby, you were talking about a video that you shared, I think it was last year, and the difference, in a potential content to go viral.
Yeah, like, cause with TikTok, ever since TikTok became, when it went from like only targeting one demographic to kind of expanding, I just wanted to test it out. Like, I couldn't put myself on TikTok, but I thought, I'll test out with different videos. And it was around the time Betty White died that I took a clip of her and I put it together in a video, posted it to TikTok, and then that even to this day, that video has 41.8 thousand views. But at the time, I remember when it took off overnight, I thought, God, all video content's going to go this way. And I think I tried another video after that, and that video only hit a couple of hundred. So I think it shows just in terms of different styles of video content and how you kind of reach, the different reach you can get with it. Just shows you how, how powerful it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. It is crazy, and I suppose that's what our clients are often chasing, isn't it? That I go viral, but there's no perfect answer to it.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Um, I mean, we couldn't really kick off talking about short form video content without discussing TikTok. From doing some really basic research online, we can see like TikTok, the app itself, has been downloaded nearly 5 billion times since it launched in 2016, which I just found absolutely phenomenal. There's only 8.2 billion people in the world, so that's over 50% of those people have downloaded TikTok. They post an average of around 270 videos every second. And even, from some of the research you were doing, Gabby, the average engagement rate on TikTok is around 2.65%, which is actually quite high compared to other social media platforms.
I think what the kind of the how powerful say TikTok is over other platforms is like the retention, like because even like say that statistic you're saying about the retention rate, I can kind of think of 10 different videos that I've maybe seen in the past couple of weeks on TikTok due to remembering things were said. So it brings you the ability, say for businesses, to not only kind of get that activity in initially when they look at the content, but then to come back and revisit that content, at a later date. And then that means, that brand awareness is kind of stuck there.
So true. Like we always say with content marketing and SEO, don't just create content and then leave it. Like consider, what you could do to improve it and update it. I suppose one of the key things that's changed with TikTok is the length of videos. I think originally it was 15 seconds, but it's now increased, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I think, at least I think that's probably where initially it got me hooked when videos were like 15 seconds long. So you could spend an hour on TikTok not realizing that you'd spent that long. But then they extended it out. Initially, I think it was to 6 minutes, and then they've now kind of gone to full 10 minutes. And even when they made that update, I remember thinking, I think in a way they're kind of taken away from the appeal of TikTok with 15-second videos. But even now, I find myself sitting thinking, yeah, I said that, and I'm sitting here watching a 10-minute long video on TikTok. So I think I guess maybe from their point of view, where they kind of were thinking of is because the demographic widened so much that they're trying to appeal to different types of audiences and users. So for those who are looking for just a quick scroll, looking through some short videos, where others, where they'll depend on the content, want to watch, something a bit longer.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm still of the generation that remembers buying those
Yeah.
mysteriously short videos, but they were a lot of fun. Ronelle, what do you think about, are there any other potential reasons for increasing the video length or even benefits that you can see?
Honestly, I don't really see a purpose of the increase, because I want to be hooked to a video. And you could see all these different content creators trying to create and come up with the like different niches as well. I'm sure you guys can agree. But yeah, with the long form videos, I don't really see the point of it. I just feel like I'm always holding the phone, or just like, do you know the little toggle bar at the bottom, and I'm just like, okay, I've made I see the point, and then I just go on to the next one. So I feel like short form videos are going to be continuing to dominate throughout the entire year and for several more years to come. So yeah, that's my opinion.
I think you're probably a lot like me, where your attention span is fairly short.
Too
Um,
short.
I'm just kind of similar, unless it's say for example a brand or a video creator that I have like some sort of connection with. I more than likely will skip on if I don't see the immediate point of the video. I'm a bit pessimistic too. I think a part of the reason might be to do with advertising. It's very difficult for any of those platforms to place an ad in a 15-second video. But when you've got, say, a 3-minute ad or a 3-minute video, sorry, you've got a lot more opportunity to slip some ads in there. I think we've seen that happen a lot more recently, haven't we?
Yeah, I think one thing I've really seen is, although it's not really catered say to small businesses, but say like, like film studios, like they now have the ability to put their mini trailer up, for say if it's 1 minute 15 seconds, it allows them to get that impact of what the film is, but also short enough that they're not giving too much away. But that's where, it then again, you have that ability to look through short pieces of content, but at the same time, they're still getting the benefit of it, that that is ad content. And then even say for businesses as well, just like say even smaller businesses, I think what the ability of having a bit of longer content helps there is because say on TikTok you can create an ad like it's just a normal user or a normal customer say using a product, that you have that ability to get the information across without feeling that you're trying to combine a really big promotional message within say 15-30 seconds. But one kind of feature I think TikTok has over other platforms when it comes to their micro content and the switch in terms of lengths is that they have that function now that you can speed up videos by holding down it's like if you hold your thumb on a certain part of your phone screen, you can speed through TikTok videos. So even if you wanted, say if you want to watch a longer video, but you have half the time available to watch it, you can speed through it, or you can just with how your attention spans, so say if you felt I only want to watch a short video, even if it is longer, you have that ability. Whereas I even know now on Instagram, sometimes if I'm watching a reel that feels a bit too long, I'm trying to speed it up, but it doesn't have that function.
Yeah, it's like that terrible habit of when you're reading a book and you want to skip to the last page and see how it ends.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen, even in terms of from your own use of TikTok and working with businesses, have you seen a drastic change in, for example, the style of TikTok videos or even in the trends over the past few years that they've started to push or increase the length of videos?
Absolutely. Like if you have a look at Curry's PC, word formerly known, you could see their content marketing. It's insane. Obviously, it's like they hired some teenager, but here it's working. They're getting about I'm seeing here 14.4 million on their last one, well, which is a pinned one, and they're getting a lot of engagement from it, and that's the sort of content that I try to promote to clients as well. Obviously, they have to find their own niche as well, but I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's insane.
Yeah, I think they're pushing the same stuff out on TV advertising and stuff. It really works. And I think it's probably testimony to how I think for a long time, maybe it was because of platforms such as X, there was just such a like rise in content that was kind of maybe fostering negativity, where you're just the comment section was a bit of a cesspool. It's nice to see that reemergence of really fun, positive content that it's trying to engage users in a good way. It's trying to say like, let's have a laugh, let's see the sort of lighthearted side of social media, which we kind of all used to see.
Yeah, like I think one kind of so like one way businesses have like say for example when TikTok first like kind of started off or really kind of peaked, I think a lot of businesses felt that TikTok wasn't the platform for them, or how can we adapt our content to kind of work with either that, niche in terms of the video content or that audience. But I think I would agree with you, Laura, that I think we're so used to, I think the term doom scrolling, that we're looking for lighthearted kind of content. And one that I think it's a local company that I've seen their ad a couple of times on TikTok, and I think that they do like floors and tiles. But and I think it's really something similar to the Currys have done. But like what they've done is like they've taken a starting clip, and I think it's say like a rugby player like really brutally getting tackled to the floor, but then they've cut it and it's like one of their team members like falling on the floor, and it being like, our floors come with like cushioning and this, and so it's almost been taken, like I think it's almost like not shock factor, but reeling you in with something else, and then almost being like, but here's how we can also help if this happened to you, kind of thing.
I love those kind of clips. They're genuinely entertaining. Um, then probably another thing that we can't miss out when we're talking about video content for social media, the rising use of AI in video content creation. Now this could be a bit of a contentious one. But just before we even get into it, any AI tools for creating video content that comes to mind for you guys straight away?
For probably my go-to one would be CapCut. Oh, I think some of them are with the Pro CapCut plan, but and say in terms of like productivity, one of the AI tools that the platform CapCut has is that you can turn long form videos into short. So say, for example, if you had a 10-minute long video that even say you're going to post as long form on YouTube, but wanted additional content then to share on Instagram, TikTok, or any other platform, what you can do is put your long form video in, tell it how many videos you need and how long you want each video to be, and it will automatically cut those for you. So in a way, for the time that you've taken maybe making one piece of content, you've effectively got 11 posts, out of that.
I think a lot of our clients are kind of afraid of creating video content because there generally is more of a time investment, but it's amazing to see that there's tools out there that can help. Any that you've been using recently, Ronell?
I have seen Big Motion. So, have you guys ever seen those like Minecraft videos in the top, and then there's something playing at the very bottom that actually does a storytelling? So that is what I'm seeing is actually very, very engaging because, right, number one, you're looking at a video and you're somewhat listening, and you're like, right, okay, I'm actually engaging out now. Now I have to listen to the story. So I've seen some plans. I would say that it would be a good tool to use. Again, you just have to really match it with your brand. Otherwise, it's not going to be a useful tool to use. But Big Motion, that's an insane one at the minute. Is this the sort of thing that you guys see on TikTok and Instagram? Because I certainly see this a lot.
I have a slightly different Explorer page.
But yeah, it's that's such an engaging tool at the minute. But yeah.
I was going to say my algorithm is stuck with those Big Motion videos, and it's like a radio talk show from America that they just play with it. And you would think it practically is all I listen to because it's all my algorithm is, but that's actually, I never realized that was what Big Motion was. So it's good to know.
Excellent. So I suppose those tools kind of cover how to make your life easier with AI. What we're seeing a lot as well is the use of AI to enhance content, or even in some cases create it. A big story in the news recently has been surrounding the upcoming film, The Brutalist. I don't know if you guys saw this. So the film's editor actually came out and admitted that, I don't know if he admitted it as much as just said it. He didn't seem in any way ashamed of it or anything. Basically, they used an AI sound editing tool to enhance the lead actor's Hungarian accents, basically just to improve them. I think they took some samples of the director's accent because he was Hungarian and basically tied them in. So there was a bit of backlash. A lot of people saying, should these guys, they're nominated for Academy Awards. I think one of them was, there was Best Director, there was Best Feature and Best Sound. So they're arguing like, is this fair? I mean, from what I've seen online, editors, video editors, sound editors have been using AI tools to an extent for, a number of years now. So what are your thoughts? Like, is it fair? Is it unfair? Is it, some people are just kind of afraid of AI taking over, as it were?
I think it's to a degree, like I would say for in the Brutalist case, I would say, say the fact Adrian Brody's been nominated for an Oscar for it, it could be other people, other artists, other actors thinking, well, if I hadn't done an accent, that was strong, maybe I wouldn't have been, or say, for example, that could have been a reason why he was nominated. So But at the same time, like you said, Laura, it's even say like people who say now, oh, I don't want to use AI. AI has been a component of everything for so long, even social media algorithms. You're using AI every day. You just don't realize it. So I think there is like a boundary line to it, but I think it just comes down to, say in that case, I think it comes down to the authenticity of the performance. But in terms of like the editing, like I said, there is some components of AI there.
Totally. And it's looking at it exactly as you said. It's about, well, what are they winning the award for? If the award is exclusively for their accent, maybe it is unfair that they used AI. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. I enjoy the debate around it. What we're seeing as well, even on a much smaller scale with the social media platforms, is that they're asking content creators and businesses to use disclaimers when they use AI content. I don't know how much either of you have come across this so far. I think YouTube, for example, have recently unveiled a tool within their creator studio, and basically it's to make it easier for creators to self-select when their video has been, the term they use is meaningfully altered with generative AI. I think that in itself could be difficult to judge. Who is to say what's meaningfully altered to one person? It could be completely subjective. But what have you come across with video content so far, Ronelle, in terms of from either what you're consuming or how you're inviting clients?
Well, I haven't actually come across anything to do with disclaimer at all. So that is actually a very interesting point. Would you say, is it with the likes of YouTube that there's a disclaimer? Is that what's happening at the minute?
Yeah, basically, it's across different platforms. I've only seen it a little bit on Facebook and Instagram in terms of the actually adding the little tag or label to content. But it's interesting that they're starting to say, okay, everyone should disclose whether or not they are actually using AI. I think a big part of it is, and I know we talked about this in a podcast a few weeks ago, is about brands or creators not wanting to dupe users. So if it's not immediately clear that a content is AI, they're starting to label it. I mean, if something is blatantly AI, like it's a lion with four heads and a horsetail or something, it's like, okay, well, I can recognize that this isn't real, but I think it's about not wanting to fool people.
Yeah, because with the YouTube requirements, like the main things that ask you, and you only see it when you've uploaded a video. It's just in the back end of each video. Like some of the main points, like when you're clarifying if you've used it or not, it asks like you haven't used somebody's face or voice. So I think where their focus on it in terms of AI is to make sure, say that you're not making a video of, say, a competitor that they've talked, say, like down talked your business and done stuff like that, when actually it's all kind of fake. So I think that's where they're looking for, to clarify that. So I think with YouTube, it's just making sure it's not so much, I think, that you're using AI. It's just that you're not using AI for kind of an inauthentic purpose where you're trying to kind of replicate someone's likeliness and get them to say something that they actually haven't said.
It's so true. And I suppose a big part of it is that brand trust. And no one wants to think that, a brand that they regularly use or a creator that they regularly engage with or follow is actually misleading them in any way. So it is really important, I suppose, to consider for anyone that is using AI as part of their content. Think about how you're using it and if it's something that you should maybe add a little disclaimer to your content. So I suppose next up on our list of things to consider with short form video content is obviously the video giant YouTube. Again, a lot of changes over the past few years. Gabby, I think you had some really interesting points about monetization of YouTube, which is obviously for anyone with a huge amount of followers or creating loads of content.
So how, like when you see YouTubers or any type of creator making money through YouTube, it's called the YouTube Partner Program. And initially, to qualify for that, the kind of main requirements that you needed was within a space of 12 months, you needed to have 1,000 subscribers and had to have 4,000 valid public watch hours. And what valid means is that they can see, say, for example, it's coming from a user and not that you've just signed up, say like a bot to watch your video over and again. But where then the impact of YouTube Shorts has come into that is that now you could, in terms of the requirements, you have the option to kind of go about it with the traditional method, but like I mentioned, 4,000 hours, watch hours and the 1,000 subscribers. But now because of Shorts, you can also qualify it for it within a shorter amount of time. So you can have 1,000 subscribers, but you need 10 million valid public short views within 90 days. And although that might sound like a massive number, if you're populating your channel with lots of short content and you've optimized it correctly, that could be, something completely achievable. And then your business then has the ability to bring in revenue from one of your actual marketing channels on top of, selling your products or services.
Yeah, I think you probably made a key point there, Gabby, is the optimization. YouTube is effectively a search engine. And that's a really, really key thing. A lot of the time what we're telling our clients is you need to embed videos all over your website. It's time on site, it's keeping users engaged, it's tricking Google into thinking, okay, people are spending more time on this website. It must be worthwhile, it's valuable content, it's helpful content. Which is a really, really key thing, definitely. Renelle, any major changes you've seen in YouTube since the sort of introduction of YouTube Shorts?
As you know, we've tried it on our ProfileTree one, and it done pretty well, especially for our short form videos that we were creating. Like how to how to deactivate your Facebook account. I've seen a spike in growth in terms of YouTube Shorts, and I see it being used every time. I even see people. I don't know if you guys have the same algorithm as I do. Mine was probably too weird, but I always see like these Pokemon pack openings as well, and then people link that with their actual long form video, and that's how they get their viewers. So using the short form videos to get more people in, which I thought was pretty smart as well. So and then that leads me to subscribing them, liking their videos, probably even commenting as well. So yeah,
Interesting. It's almost like a backlink to their it's like a tease. Okay, this is what the kind of content that you could get if you end up on my channel. Definitely.
exactly.
So I suppose what a digital strategist, what so often that you guys are covering with your clients is content creation. In the case of video content, I think it is definitely one of those things that people are a little bit afraid of, would be fair to say, often to do with shyness or not really know where to start, or even just thinking about the amount of time that they might need to invest in creating content. It's kind of inescapable at this point where we're trying to explain to people that it is needed. It's engaging. You're going to expand your organic reach massively. Any tips, Brunel, that you would give to someone starting out as, a small business, has never really created video content before? Where would you tell them to start?
Honestly, I always tell my clients, just start off very small. You don't even need to do a voiceover. You don't even need to showcase your face, especially if you're doing a product as well. Quick 2 to 3 second shots, combine them all in CapCut, and then that's content straight away. As long as it's short form, as long as it's, easy, you get hooked straight away. You've seen Conley Cove. With the likes of that sort of content, I always try to showcase. That's the sort of content that you should be promoting, especially as a business. Just depends on what your business needs are.
Yeah. You don't need to be a film director to create, a pretty straightforward reel. Absolutely. CapCut is the tool for you. Then you think it's probably the industry leader in terms of like ease of use.
I would say so, yes, especially with AutoCut. It just makes things a lot easier. You don't have to create a new project in order to create that short form video. Just jump on AutoCut, put all my wee videos in, upload it. There you go. That's an Instagram reel, or that'll be a TikTok video. Done and dusted.
You make it sound very easy, Renelle. Would you say, would you say, Gabby, that it is still important to consider planning and strategy before starting to create video content?
Oh, definitely. Because I even know myself, personal videos, I've gone on holiday and taken lots of video clips, I'm gonna put these together as a really cool TikTok video, and then got home and thought, I don't know what clip to start with. I don't know what clips go together. So what I always kind of recommend is that even in terms of your productivity, think about what your focus of that video is going to be. Because even in a way, you can plan the length of the video that you're going to need. You can think about the different clips maybe that you need to put together. But also as a business, so say, for example, if you have a business channel on TikTok, you're not going to have access to some of the copyright kind of trend of music. So it gives you that opportunity as well to look into your kind of the catalog of music that you're allowed to use as a business and use that to adapt it to the video. Because even in terms of editing tips, one thing I've always seen is that the videos that are edited to match the beats of music have a higher engagement rate. But it just means then that, because even in terms of productivity, if you're maybe say showcasing one product and you have a plan, if you have another product, you can maybe film those two products in one kind of recording session, but then you've got ultimately, two full videos out of it. But I just think planning, even just to have a general idea, it doesn't have to be, detailed. Just know what you want to focus on, what points you want to make. Even say if you're doing a voiceover for the business, to know what points you want to say, rather than feeling like you're just going off the cuff and, struggling to know the right words to say.
Absolutely. The key thing is make sure that you have a call to action. What do you actually want your users or the viewers or the people that are going to engage with your content to do? I suppose one thing that I often don't realize the similarities between the video content that I enjoy. My explore page is mainly puppies and food. Um, it's definitely a growing trend with food videos, especially that the opening clip is the exact same as the end clip. What's your opinion on that? Do you think that is a really effective way of hooking users?
Definitely, because even in terms of the TikTok algorithm, although all the algorithms change all the time, one thing that TikTok looks for is in terms of determining valuable content. If a video is watched more than once, or watch the full way through, but then even more so watch more than once, it views that as being, content that's resonant with an audience, so it should push it back out. So and probably similar to the example you give, one that always sticks in my mind is I have a Canadian woman who does pottery on my algorithm, and every video she starts cleaning her pottery wheel, going through what product she's making for what order she has, and then she finishes it by starting to clean her pottery wheel. So then when it goes back to the beginning, it looks like you're still on that one clip. But I remember I was watching it once, and I remember thinking, oh, you accidentally repeated your video. And then I was like, no, wait, the video's went back to the beginning. So that's almost like a little kind of trick way to retain that viewership on your content without having to think about something really complex to keep it there.
So obviously, there's so many key considerations when it comes to creating video content as either a brand or a business or a content creator. Um, But one of the things that we often tell people is make sure that your video content makes sense for you. Don't try to go completely off pace with your brand messaging just because you think something might go viral. And we see a lot of cases of things maybe going a little too far. What would you say in terms of trying to align your video content with your brand? Like, how would you go about doing that, Renelle?
If I were me, if I had a business, I want to make sure that, as you say there, it aligns with the actual business. What products are you selling? If it's not a product, then what services are you selling? As I say, going back to curries there, obviously, they had one where it was a horse kicking a chicken, and then that chicken was going into an air fryer. There you go, you're selling an air fryer. One would be, who was this guy? There was this like old man who dancing on the stage, and then he was showcasing like a little microwave on his hand. So there you go. That's another content as well. But going too far is too much. And I would say if you are going too far with content, it's violence as well. But that's something you can't encourage, especially to younger viewers. I don't know if you've seen some videos out there that says viewer discretion, and you're seeing that multiple times. I've seen some businesses pop up with that. Obviously, that's a no-go. Don't know what your opinion is on that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think definitely it's important to toe the line and recognize that you're representing your brand through this content and this page. Gabby, have you seen any examples of big brands or even small brands going a little bit too far with video content?
Yeah, a couple. So, because I think that's the thing with, in terms of video content, I think because one big aspect of content that's really pushing engagement now is that kind of business culture, learning who the business is, learning who the owners, the team and all are. But I think where some businesses drop off is they don't know where the boundaries are too far. So like one that I even use with clients of do not do this was, I think it was a consultancy company. I think they're based in England. But I remember I saw their TikTok where they would have different team, but it was mainly I think it was mainly like just a small team, but it was mainly this one guy, and he would say, it was almost like social media tips, different things if you're experiencing different things with your business. And then all of a sudden there was one video of him and his girlfriend on a beach, and she's in a bikini, and they're doing up close like shots of them and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, I feel like I've staggered into the wrong kind, and I almost felt intrusive. Felt I was intruding on it. And I think that's the thing that, and even say another one that I've seen, and I think it's when businesses, I think, are first getting started on social media, it's a common thing that I see working with clients is that sometimes they'll use their business channel as like a collective, as their personal channel as well. So like I've seen businesses, promoting their products and then having a video of them out one night, drinking, doing karaoke, and there's just such a disconnect there. And I think what happens is, I think a lot of sometimes businesses see maybe competitors or other businesses doing something that they're like, right, well then that's what we'll do. But that might be appropriate for that other business, but for yours, it could be so much of a disconnect. And I think even in terms of our shortening attention spans, if you have that one kind of negative impact, or kind of, have that kind of negative feeling about a business, it's going to put you off coming back again. And I think, although some people say shock value works, I don't, and I think even with younger demographics, I don't think that really works anymore, because you're just going to have that, oh yeah, I didn't like going to that channel because I saw that video once. So then they're not going to come back and view or engage with any future content.
It's so true. And that one piece of bad content can be, almost irreversible. So it is really important to sort of toe the line. I suppose that the difficult thing is for people is, it's really important now, I think, over the past few years, for people to actually have a personal connection with a brand. And especially for small businesses or businesses where the owner, in this case, is the brand, maybe where they're a therapist or something like that, or like a life coach or anything. They're basically, so there is a lot of crossover between the business account and their personal account. So it's just about knowing, okay, I want to still align with my tone of voice, my message, and connect with users, but not in a way that's maybe going a little bit too far and I suppose maybe unprofessional.
Yeah, I would say is like one thing I've seen some businesses do is like they'll put videos up as a response to, say, if a competitor has maybe posted something that they'll say maybe had a campaign that they felt has maybe enclosed on something that they've done before. They'll put up videos saying, verbally calling them out, which in a way you're thinking that's just opening you up to potential legal issues doing that. But I think even in terms of still connected to video content, one thing that I've noticed on TikTok is that one way to grow, apart from your video content, the main kind of way to grow your channel on TikTok is to engage with your audience and engage with other users, because all that activity builds up. And I think, Laura, I think I've told you about this example before, but it's kind of a new thing that when I'm talking to clients is, when talking about managing your content, if you see content that you don't like, or if you see a comment that you don't like, if you have a feeling that you're going to go back as being combative, whether that's in a video response or a comment, it's best just to put your phone down. Because one example I saw recently was in just you talking about like therapists and stuff, was like a Reiki wellness coach on TikTok. There was I think she's maybe a somewhat of an influencer. There was a Scottish girl had put up a video, and I think I hadn't seen the original video, but I think she was maybe upset and saying about her mental health and stuff wasn't great. And that business had a comment underneath it saying, would you ever grow up? And then they went on, and it's like, we promote wellness and pure and positive mental health. And all I thought was, with one comment, you've effectively destroyed the credibility of your business. So even whether it's video content or even just managing your video, like TikTok, channels, it's just knowing where the boundaries are there, as well as what content you're putting out.
Oh, it's pain. It can happen though, easily happen.
Yeah.
But I suppose as well as things like ethical considerations when creating video content, there's also legal ones to an extent. Copyright is obviously a big thing now with video content, especially, Gabby, through the use of music.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the probably biggest pain points, I think, for businesses on, say, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or even Facebook, is that, but say like focusing more so on TikTok, the best one of when you're, kind of referred to what's the best way to grow a channel, it's to use trending music to kind of push it further out into the algorithm. But because you're a business channel, that trending music is effectively copyright protected, so you can't use it. So what I've seen some businesses do is that when they initially, just using say TikTok as an example, when they initially create their account, they'll keep it as a personal account to kind of build up that bit of an audience to kind of know who they are, but it still gives them the opportunity to use the trend in music to push their content. But when if you have a business account, you're better using, one thing that TikTok has is called the commercial use library. And YouTube has something similar, which you can find within YouTube Studio. But what it'll do is it'll outline the music that you can use, because, like, say if you don't have the option of purchasing a license to use that music. But what's good about, and even that I've seen with the commercial use library on TikTok, is that it still incorporates some of the kind of copyrighted music. Like, I think one example last year I saw was there was an Olivia Rodrigo song that was trending on TikTok. But what someone had done had like taken a clip of it but mixed it in with other music. So I think because of how short the copyright clip of the music was, it could then be used as copyright free. And that's even then where I was mentioned before by planning, using that library to look at what music you have available and how it then applies to the content that you're looking to use. It's just going to help avoid any and even in terms of the copyright strikes with TikTok, what generally happens is that you'll get a message and either be told your video's been removed from the For You feed, or your video is ultimately muted. So if you have a voiceover in that's maybe talking about your product or your service, you're going to miss out on all of that just because you tried to use, copyrighted music.
Absolutely. It's so important, I think, like you said, Gabby said, to consider all these things. No, I suppose not to overwhelm people, but do a bit of research initially. I think it's good, even using AI tools like ChatGPT to put together a bit of a video content strategy. Just so you're not going in blind, and you sort of understand all the areas that you need to consider before getting started. Um, so I suppose before we wrap up, it'd be good to look at any sort of recent or future updates in terms of video content. Any news with any of the platforms going forward?
Well, one that I know, which I was probably something I never really thought would ever happen, is that LinkedIn has introduced Reels. Initially last year, it was only introduced for premium users, but now, as far as I believe, it's for everyone. So I think LinkedIn's always had a bit of a focus on video content, but I think now that they're focused on short form portrait, orientated content, I think that shows just how much of a priority video content is now, not just for video-based platforms, but for all of them. But I think what that you also should take into consideration is, say, maybe businesses that have used only LinkedIn as their marketing platform, who maybe thought they could kind of get around the issue of not having video content. That's now going to be something that they'll want to maybe implement into either their content marketing or their digital strategies moving forward.
It'll be interesting to see what Threads will do, because I know that it's not a platform at the minute for short form videos, like X, of course, but well, I'd like to just see how well it'll do at the minute, because I do believe it's a 5-minute video that you are able to have on there. So never know. It might be another platform that's going to be competing against, well, obviously its friend there is Instagram, but with the likes of TikTok, could be another competitor for it.
This is true. If the US does revisit their ban, and TikTok's ban, then it opens it up, I think, for an all video platform to swoop in, definitely. Well, guys, it's been really, really interesting. Lots to consider there. Thank you for your time, and we'll catch up next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.